Hello friends, today we are going to discuss in brief the case presentation in ophthalmology by undergraduate student. The case should be presented under the following headings. Number 1, particulars of the patients. Number 2, chief complaints. Number 3, history of presenting illness. Number 4, history of past illness. Number 5, general examination. Number 6, ocular examination. Number 7, provisional diagnosis. And number 8 is management, that consists of two parts, investigations and treatment. So we will start with particulars of the patient. In this we write down the name, age, sex, address of the patient. But while we are presenting, it should be in such a way like I am going to present the case of Mr. Ramlal, 60 years old, male, residing at Blaze, Fanda, Bhopal. Then comes the chief complaints. So whenever we are discussing the chief complaints, it should be in short, hardly few lines, maybe one or two lines or three lines, in which we will just mention the main problems of the patient, chief complaints. Like in case of cataract, the only chief complaint may be painless gradual diminution of the vision. Then we will mention the time. So it will be like the patient is having painless gradual diminution for 1 year. Okay, if there is no significant complaint other than this, then this is sufficient for the chief complaint. Then comes the history of presenting illness. In case of history of presenting illness, we are simply describing and detailing the patient complaint starting from the time when patient was normal. So we will suppose in a case of cataract, we'll write down like this: as per the patient, he or she, in our case suppose Ramlal, he was all right 1 year back, then he noticed blurring of the vision or diminution of the vision, which was painless and gradual, and for the last 3 months this blurring has increased. There is no associated symptoms like watering or foreign body sensation, and if there is some other problem, then we need to mention it also. But usually in case of cataract, there will be no other complaint other than the painless gradual diminution of the vision. So we just need to mention the time. Okay. Then comes the history of past illness. So in the history of past illness, we usually ask about the history of hypertension, history of diabetes mellitus, history of asthma, and history of drug allergy, because all these are related with the patient's ocular condition as well as management. Like in case of hypertension or diabetes, there may be associated hypertensive or diabetic retinopathy. Okay. Then we will discuss in brief the general examination. In general examination, in ophthalmology, we are not supposed to take or examine thoroughly. We can start like patient is well oriented to time, place and person. He is afebrile, his pulse and respiration can be mentioned, and hardly BP. But if you are not measuring the BP or temperature, then do not mention it. You can say that the patient is normal, stable and afebrile. That's it. We should not do something that we are describing the respiratory rate, pulse rate, BP, and when the examiner asks, have you really checked it? You say, no sir, BP instrument was not available. Then how could you write the BP? So we should not write anything which we have not done. Okay. Then comes the main part, that is the ocular examination or the examination of the eye proper. Okay. So the first and the foremost important part is the vision. So whenever we are starting our examination of the eye, it should always be start with the vision. We should repeat the vision with pinhole as well. Okay. Vision or visual acuity must be recorded on the chart by the student himself or herself. We should never copy the vision from others or from the file. And as we know how to take the vision on the distance chart, 6 meter distance and all these things you know. So vision is very important. It must be checked properly and must be mentioned properly, because in many cases vision itself is a guide to the diagnosis. Suppose if you are saying that my patient vision is 6 by 18, and then later on you make a diagnosis of mature senile cataract. So they are contradicting. Examiner will easily know that you have not taken the vision, because it is not possible to have a vision of 6 by 18 in a case of mature senile cataract. If the vision is 6 by 18, it may be an immature cataract, but it cannot be a mature cataract. So vision is very important, should never be copied. It should be checked by the student thoroughly and carefully, because it gives the idea about the diagnosis. Okay. Second thing, the examination with torchlight, we first comments on the facial symmetry, then about the alignment of the eye, and then we'll comment on the lid, lacrimal sac area, then we will comment on the conjunctiva, cornea. I mean to say that the examination should be from anterior to the posterior. It should not be that we should comment haphazardly. Like first we comment on the cornea, then on the lid, then on the iris or pupil. No, it should not be. It should be like first comment on the facial symmetry, then on the alignment of the eye, lid, lacrimal sac area, eye movement, then conjunctiva, sclera, cornea, anterior chamber, iris, pupil and pupillary reaction, then the pupillary reflex. So it should be the sequence, and it should always be presented in a sequence. Okay. So what are the common findings in a case of cataract? Usually if there is no other pathology, facial symmetry will be there. There will be no problem in the lid, so we can say lid is normal. Lacrimal sac area mein, what we are supposed to check is the regurgitation. So we just press on the lacrimal area and see whether any discharge or fluid is coming through the punctum. If it is, then regurgitation test is positive, or if it is not, then we will say RT or regurgitation test is negative. Okay. In conjunctiva, whether there is any congestion or not. If it is not, then we can say that conjunctiva is normal. In cornea, what is most important? It is the transparency. So if there is any opacity, mention it. If it is not, then we will mention that cornea is clear. Normal cornea means a cornea is clear. As most of the cataract patients, they are old, so there may be arcus senalis, which we can mention. Okay. Then we will mention or comment on the anterior chamber depth. So anterior chamber depth is normal in most of the cases. It may be shallow and deep. Deeper anterior chamber is seen in pseudophakia and aphakia. So a chamber cannot be shallow in case of aphakia or pseudophakia generally. Otherwise, in a case of immature or mature cataract, either the anterior chamber is normal or shallow or deep, but it is always deep in case of pseudophakia and aphakia. Okay, then we will mention about the iris. In iris we see the color pattern, and if it is normal we mention color pattern normal. Then we comment on the pupil. central, circular, regular, and reacting to light. Sometimes what happens, there is a possibility that patient is pharmacologically dilated. The pupil is dilated pharmacologically by the use of some dilating drops. In that condition, the reaction to the light will be absent. It is not possible that on the one hand we are saying that pupils are dilated, on the other hand we are saying that reaction to light is present. If pupil is pharmacologically dilated, then the reaction of the light will be absent. If it is not, it is normal, central. After commenting on the pupil, we will be seeing the iris shadow. Iris shadow is very important. It is the shadow of the iris on the immature cataract. A lens which is having immature cataract is the place where the iris shadow is being formed. Iris shadow is seen only in case of immature cataract. I repeat, iris shadow is seen only in case of immature cataract. In all other cases, it will be absent. It will be absent in mature cataract, aphakia, pseudophakia. So, if iris shadow is present, it means we are dealing with the case of immature cataract. Okay. So, if we are mentioning that our patient is having mature cataract, then iris shadow will be absent. After this comes the pupillary reflex, and pupillary reflex is nothing what we see in the pupillary area. And this is very important because most of the diagnoses related with the lens, they are made with the help of pupillary reflex. So it is, as we know, that the pupillary reflex is black or grayish black in a normal person when we examine with the help of torchlight. It become grayish white. It become grayish white in case of immature cataract, white in case of mature cataract, pearly white or milky white in case of hypermature cataract, and it will be jet black in case of aphakia, and there will be shining reflex in case of pseudophakia. So this is very important. Grayish white immature cataract, white mature cataract, milky white hypermature cataract, aphakia jet black, pseudophakia shining reflex. So with this, usually the ocular examination at undergraduate level is completed.